Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Resident Rulebreakers. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Camille.
And today's podcast is about episode 505 called The Thinnest Veil. This episode was written by Todd Harthan, Chris Bessounian, and Tianna Majumdar-Langham, directed by Paul McCrane, and it was a Halloween episode.
Yeah, they always do Halloween well. They missed it last year. They missed it last year, but second season and third season, they had a Halloween episode, and we loved both of them. So
the first part of this one, we're just going to go into Conrad's plotline here. Conrad is still dealing with grieving over Nick.
Before we talk about that, though, let's talk about the title. We know that
Harry Potter,
for me anyway. But I think Thinnest Veil. I think
the veil that Sirius Black fell through in Harry Potter. Yeah,
the thing that separates. Yeah, that's my first thought. I mean, if you read the book or you watched the movie, there's like in movie 5 or book 5, Order of the Phoenix, he would hear these voices on the other side of the veil or whatever. And they were like voices of his parents, dead family members or whatever. So that's the one that Sirius Black fell through also when he got killed.
Yeah, and that's referenced in the episode by the witch that Conrad takes care of in the ER, that Halloween's the night where the veil between life and death is the thinnest. And which is referenced in many, many movies about Halloween, that there's the veil between the worlds is thinnest on Halloween night.
Yeah, which is also like someone in our group was talking about how they did an episode about Nick dying, and then like 2 episodes later they do a stupid Halloween episode. But if you think about it, this is actually,
it's very timely.
Yeah, because this veil again is about the veil between life and death, and also, I mean, people forget that Halloween was also All Hallows Day, where you celebrate the spirits of the dead and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
If you're like the witches, they're Wiccan. It's a paganism. It's a pagan holiday, kind of like the Christmas tree. It's a pagan thing too.
Yeah, it's about celebrating the dead too.
Yeah, Yeah.
So it's all like, it all fits.
Yeah.
It's not just vampires and witches and stuff.
Exactly. It's Halloween's not all about the candy and everything, getting in costume and getting drunk, okay? Halloween's way more than that, and it has a very big meaning in terms for a lot of people.
Especially when, like I said, there's a connection to the dead when it comes to Halloween.
Yeah.
Even though people seem to forget that part when they talk about costumes and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. Because here with Conrad, he's just still dealing with losing Nick. He sees, or he's remembering her, a moment he had with her. And there's a cameo from Emily Van Camp in the beginning of the episode. It was from a previous episode because people who pointed out that when they slowed down the episode, they could tell that it was a double that they filmed with, that parts that weren't Emily. So
I wonder who the body double was, though.
Lucky girl.
Who's the lucky girl to do that? Like, did anybody find out who the lucky girl was? I got to kiss Matt Super for a minute.
But Conrad tries to take his mind off of Nick and goes back to work, probably way too soon.
Early.
Yeah. But Kit's like, okay, we need doctors, let him do what he needs to do. And even like Hunley was like, maybe you shouldn't do this case, Conrad, or whatever. But he stuck to it, and I think he got some closure because of it, because he was like, and then the dumb supper that they did, the silent supper, which allowed them to have closure on Nick. And they left a place for her, a place setting with the plate and the glass of wine and everything. I thought that was a good tribute to her. Like, she's still there, but her spirit's there, I guess. Yeah. I liked that. It was beautiful. I thought seeing Jessica Lucas cry, like, that was, I don't know how they do it, but we're gonna get into her what she did in the episode later, but yeah, that was a great shot showing how she's grieving her friend. But I really loved that. And then of course, poor Conrad, he's so overwhelmed with his own grief, he forgets to get a Halloween costume for his daughter.
For Gigi.
And Nick, apparently she remembered before she passed away to get a costume for Gigi, and it arrived on their doorstep. And Conrad's just like, Mommy remembered. And she was adorable.
Oh God, that just breaks my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine, like, oh, I get crying because of that?
Yeah, I mean, it was sad. I was just like, oh my God, he picks up this box. He has no clue what it is, and he opens it up, and he sees that Nick ordered it. Halloween.
I know. It just like breaks my heart and everything.
And he's like, next year, Daddy will remember your Halloween costume. Like,
shush. I'm gonna cry now.
It'll be interesting to see Conrad go forward as they age up Gigi, to see him be a dad to a child that can actually talk and have emotions and everything. So that's going to be really cool to see. We're going to talk about that twist later.
Yep.
But the Conrad gets all this closure from these witches who come in, and they're Wiccan, and they're 3 women, and their symptoms are they're like, what in the world is happening? They're throwing up, they're having hallucinations, including the halo around Conrad and AJ, which I thought was the humor that was injected into such a sad series of episodes. Was funny because yes, AJ and Conrad are angels. They realize that they accidentally poisoned themselves with foxglove, a very unedible herb. That
is so hilarious watching the halo around AJ. I don't like. But I mean, Malcolm looked good though. So
yeah. One of the witches had to have surgery because she like hit her head or something. She had a head injury.
Yep.
Yeah. So AJ did 2 surgeries in this episode. But yeah, the witch was able to bring closure for Conrad. She lost her son, and then, she realizes something was off with Conrad, and they talked, and he realized that he knew her because she ran a bookstore, and realized they had a connection. And so he told her, what happened to Nick. So I like the fact that she was able to give him some closure. The guest patients on this show have ways of making you like them very much. And AJ and Devon have a patient too that thinks he's being haunted by ghosts from being in this old house, which old houses can be creepy. But
I mean, like, the guy reminds me of the TV show Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventure or whatever.
Yeah.
I watched those, and there are some where I'm like, that's hilarious.
Devon's sitting here going, there's got to be a medical reason for all this happening,
I know. Some electronic wiring going on.
Yeah, and then like the video he had, that I'm like, there's got to be a reason. And his girlfriend's like, yeah, there's got to be a reason. And I love AJ's cheeky lines where, talking about, ghosts and all that stuff. And he's like, but we'll find out the medical reason too. So AJ does surgery because they realize he has a growth in his chest.
Yep. And
so he does another surgery and cures him of being haunted, quote unquote.
The question then goes, here's the thing. So after like the surgery, what if he still sees ghosts? Does that mean that it's really a hallucination, or is it really ghosts?
I don't know.
See, say that he cured him of it by
the girlfriend obviously wasn't having issues with whatever he was having issues with, so
maybe he's just having like some kind of mental illness episode.
I don't know. And then there's a plot line in here that reminds you never to pick up a hitchhiker.
Hey, I detest that storyline. I've had to hitchhike many times in my life. We are not all serial killers or murderers or anything like that.
In this case,
there are people who are innocent and who have like literally broke, no money for a bus or the car broken down or something. So like, we're not all bad.
No, but in this case, Belle on Halloween of all the days runs into a serial killer whose first name happens to be Michael.
Oh my god.
God, they're referencing such, like, I hate horror movies, okay? I absolutely despise them. And I will run into another room if, like, I used to work in a movie theater, so I was exposed to a lot of horror movies because I wasn't usher a lot.
Yep.
I would literally go in, check to make sure they weren't breaking the rules, and leave.
I'm not a big scary movie fan. Are you?
But I love Halloween. It's weird.
The movie or the?
No, I love the holiday, but I hate horror movies.
Yeah. No, I Friday the 13th was the year, for me are the days for scary movies kind of thing. I remember, what is that called? They did a remake of Damien on June 6, 2006, 666. I went to theater that day to watch it, and I honestly was not even scared. I watched the movie. I was like, "This is it? What is this? This is like a devil's child."
Maybe you have, but no, I don't like horror movies. I don't. I hate them. So.
Oh, I don't like scary movies. I just don't know what's. I'm starting like some scary movies that are not really scary to me. Freddy Krueger is scary. Chucky is scary. Hellraiser is scary. The son of a devil or Satan or whatever, it's not so scary because that just sounds like a child, like a regular child.
But yeah, this guy, you can, like, right away something's off, that. But Belle, like, it's referenced in the last week's episode where Belle regrets the appendectomy from the pilot and the patient passing away because he was unfit to practice surgery at that point because his hands were shaking so bad. And Belle regrets this, and he tells this guy that. But the fact is, he's like, but I love being a surgeon. I love cutting and everything, but you shouldn't tell a serial killer who has no emotions or anything, he's a psychopath, that you love cutting people open for a living.
He didn't know that the dude was a serial killer.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
He was
but
just
in hindsight, he's like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But for Belle, it's like, do no harm. He's not purposely doing harm to these people. This other guy, he was purposely out there killing people.
Yeah.
But rural Georgia's a little creepy anyway, especially at night.
Yeah.
So, but Belle, I'm surprised this guy they didn't do some type
stab
of
him or something.
Yeah. But Belle gets back to Chastain and he sees the news report, and Kit's like, something, like, she knows something's off. Kit knows something's off with Belle. And she's the report, and she knows immediately what happened, pretty much. Then Belle sees it and goes, oh, yeah. But there was some anonymous report. This guy gets arrested. So I don't know if it was Belle or if it was Kit or if it was someone else, but at least this guy got his justice served. He'll be in jail for the rest of his life. But yeah, that's a creepy plot line. And I loved Bruce singing at the beginning. Who doesn't blare the radio while they're driving? I mean, I do.
Oh my god, buddy. Everybody does it. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
Music. Well, except my parents. My parents. I'm saying like an old generation.
My dad and I would blare the radio quite frequently when we're driving.
Okay, well then if you're my parents, no.
Kit Belle, because we just referenced it. I do love how weird she was, and I love their hug at the end, and everything. Yeah, I really like that. It's referencing that they're officially, they're officially together. Yeah, dating. Yep.
I love her outfit as
the Mary Poppins outfit. Perfect for Jane Leaves, yes.
I know, perfect. I mean, she's British, number one. Yeah. And she looks a little like her younger self looked like a little bit like Mary Poppins.
Little bit like a younger Julie Andrews, yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and stuff. So like 100% perfect for her.
Yeah, perfect.
I would like to do like sing supercalifragilisticexpialidocious or something.
And then we have Dila. Devon and Leela are house hunting. And so that plot line's moving forward. I love that.
Yeah, we haven't talked about the end yet.
We haven't talked about the ending. Yeah. The other thing I want to mention was the creepy scene, which I felt was misplaced, but I'm guessing it was because of time that they had to add it in. Yeah. Is Chastain haunted by... I'm like, oh, AJ, why are you trying to creep Devon out? He and Nolan are like, yeah, there's a room that's haunted or whatever. Yeah. And then there's the guy in the mask, and yeah, I'm like, poor Devon. But I thought the scene was a little misplaced compared to the rest of the episode. So
yeah.
But I have a feeling it was in there for time. The end of the episode. This is what we're going to talk about for like the next couple minutes because there's a lot of information. Plot twist.
Number one. Leela is not with AJ.
No. Anuja Joshi has a twin sister in real life who's about to come on the show and play Leela's twin sister, Padma.
Yes. Anuja has a sister named Anisha.
Yes.
So, yeah, like...
the promo for 5-6 is very misleading.
It is not Leela. So don't go like harassing anybody or telling people, yeah, broke up with Devon or whatever. So like, first of all,
no. The thing about Dila, the articles clearly state Devon and Leela are the new cinch couple of the show. But yeah, Devon and Leela are still together, and we have a 3-year time jump coming in, which is the end of the episode where you see a aged up Gigi, which I predicted, played by Remington Evans, and she is 5 years old in real life, so they can age her down a little bit, but not by much. And going trick-or-treating with her daddy.
Yeah, it's so cute.
They're cute. And then they show that, you know, he's kind of keep Nick's memories alive for her, but she really does look a lot like Emily. Yeah. But they did that on purpose. They did a good job casting her.
Yep.
But yeah, 3 years into the future, and there's a lot of articles, and there's a lot of reasons why the writers are saying why they did what they did. One, we don't want to have to deal with a rest of season where we're dealing with a grieving Conrad.
Yep.
I don't know if I could watch that.
No, I wouldn't be able to watch it either. I mean, like, that is just sad. But I also, like, I understand a lot of people's apprehension about the time jump, mostly because 3 years is a lot. We already had a time jump to some imaginary time where COVID doesn't exist anymore.
And now we've had another one 9 months later after Gigi's been born. And now we're having a 3-year time jump to allow these characters to somewhat move on with their lives.
Yeah. So it's like, what year is this? 2028 or something?
Well, into the future. Here's like Conrad's an attending, but he's not working at Chastain.
Yeah.
He is a private practice concierge doctor, which means he's a doctor for the rich people.
So everyone who says that he's no longer a doctor, again, put down your pitchforks.
He did it to be a single father to Gigi. Like work-life balance scenario here. My dad did the same thing. He took a job so he could be around me more. It's only fair to Conrad and fair to Gigi to be able to have her dad. So don't go judging them yet, because I think that's a good idea.
Crazy.
Devon is no longer a resident anymore. He's now an attending as well. And then Leela's in her last year of her residency. So we jumped significantly. And AJ has written a book. He's come some form of a celebrity doctor, so his ego is going to be a little out there, which I'm okay with seeing more of an egotistical AJ, because that's the way he was when he first started. Then Belle and Kit are still together, and they're like the power couple of Chastain. Kit's still CEO. So that's pretty much where we are with all these characters. Billy is out of her residency as well. She's a kick-ass neurosurgeon. And Trevor is going to be starting his residency in the show as of 5/7. So going to medical school. And he and Billy are on, I think, better terms, but they're still dealing with a lot of stuff. So there's where all the characters are from what I was reading. So the time jump, I think for me, I appreciate them for doing it. And they chose a specific time frame because they didn't want to have to age up the actors and makeup. And this allows them to not do that, you know. Because this is more work on them. And with all the work that these IASTE people are already facing, don't put more on them. Don't do that. They're already might reject this deal that came through last weekend. And we might have a strike. Just because there's a deal doesn't mean there won't be a strike.
Yeah.
So that's a fair warning there. I took it out of last week's podcast because the deal was reached before we released the podcast. But there are rumors that they might reject it. So the show, when it will come back, we don't know. Right now, the World Series will be airing. And sometimes, and for those of you who don't know what that is, it's baseball. Some people have no clue, you know, how American sports run.
Yeah. Even Americans don't know how the American sports run.
The reason I understand is because I live in the South, and my mother is a baseball fanatic. Okay, I'm used to hearing it and dealing with it. So, but yeah, baseball World Series essentially, and it can last 1 to 2 weeks, so we could be delayed. So the air dates that we're going to talk about are tentative and could jump a week. I don't think it's going to last more than 2 weeks. It never does.
No, I hope not.
Hope not, yeah. But 5/6 and 5/7 both have press releases officially. And press release for 5/6, it says it's an all new world at Chastain. The original air date was supposed to be November 2nd. If the World Series goes to the 6th game, it will be delayed by a week to November 9th.
Yeah. So who's playing? Have they already chosen who?
I have not heard. My mother would have told me, and she wanted the Atlanta Braves because we're so close to Atlanta. But I don't know. I will know because I'll be with her next week. But
yeah.
But that's just a fair warning for people. That's why the promo didn't give a definitive date and just said after the World Series. But this plotline says Conrad brings a patient into the hospital who causes a high security crisis. And, you know, this is probably one of his rich patients or whatever it is. And MMA brawl, and you probably know what that is more than I do because you watch wrestling, right?
Yep.
Yep. An MMA brawl sends well-known fighter to Chastain and all hands are on deck. Meanwhile, Belle and the Raptor vie for the same position at the hospital. Most people think it's the chief of surgery position coming back open, which I don't know if I want either of them to be chief of surgery, but one of them needs to be because we need a main character to have that kind of position, I guess.
Yeah.
Leela gets a visit from her sister, who happens to be her twin, played by Anisha Joshi. And so, Ask Your Doctor is the name of the episode.
Yep.
Other guest cast members are Michael Hogan as Dr. Nolan, Tasso will be back, Denitra will be back, Jessica Meisel will return, Vince Foster will be back, and of course, Anisha Joshi playing Padma Devi. That's her name.
Yep.
So that's and then of course, Remington Blair Evans, who plays Gigi, will also be in the episode.
Yep.
So there's that. Okay, 5/7. Well, tentative date is November 9th, could go as far back as November 16th due to the World Series. The press release says a new group of interns started Chastain. A new group of interns, which includes Trevor, start their first day at Chastain. So this is where that time jump takes place for him. Kit and Belle try to convince Conrad to return to Chastain. And the Raptor's mom ends up back in the ER. So the Raptor's mom will make her appearance. There's a storyline they were referencing about AJ's mom coming back into the picture, what's happened to her with over the last 3 years because she had cancer and everything. Well, she's still fighting cancer. So we'll see how that's happened. You catch up with that storyline. And then Padma and Leela will have an unexpected visit from their parents. So you'll get to meet Leela's parents in this episode. And I'm guessing Devon has something to do with this plotline. But Michael Hogan will be back. Tasta will be back. Denitra will be back. And of course, Anisha. Summer Selby will be playing AJ's mom. So, and the people playing Padma and Leela's parents are Anna George and Bernard White. There's that 508 has an episode title called Now I See. That's all we have on that. Nothing past that though. I've been looking to see, but I'm guessing they're just hesitant to reveal things. So, and rightfully so, because we can pick
between
up
the IATSE strike, between the everything, between also the 3-year time jump. They're trying to keep everything as much hush hush as possible.
Yeah, and then there's the thing about Conrad having another potential love interest. He has 3 potential love interests coming in later in the season.
Like who?
Like,
Billy's name has been thrown around.
They said
maybe the new ER doctor.
Yeah, well, yeah, the resident has a new ER doctor coming in, played by a former Gotham cast member. What's her name? Kaylee something. I can't pronounce her name. But yeah, there's another doctor coming in, and then but there's like 3 people that people are going to try to make people guess who. But by the end of season, I'm guessing somewhere like back half of season 5.
We're in 2022.
It's probably finally Conrad but the fact is there's going to be time where he's still a single dad and we're going to get used to that. But after 3 years, I mean, he can't stay single forever. So they're going to give us time to adjust to the time jump, and then they're going to drop 11%.
This is going to be so weird.
Yeah.
I want somebody to write a date down on the paper. Like I want, so that we can know like what year this is supposed to be.
It's officially Christmas time for Hallmark, and Camille will tell you more about that.
Yeah, there's a big eye roll going on that you cannot see right now. Wow, Halloween hasn't even started. He isn't even here yet. We're a week away from it. And all of us Hallmark podcasters are stressing out. We are like literally messaging each other like, how are we going to survive this year? So anyway, started this past Friday on the 22nd. Hallmark is coming out with 40 new movies. So that's 4 a week on average. I will also be doing interviews, which I am. Kayla will be joining me there. She'll be guest hosting with me all throughout Christmas, countdown to Christmas. So if you guys want to come join us over there, we will be over there, and we will be talking Hallmark movies, all 40 of them. So.
Hallmark Heartbeats, all the podcast platforms, along with the resident Rulebreakers, you can find it.
Another thing about my Hallmark podcast is I have started to. Hallmark has a publishing arm that they're not just movies or TV shows, they also have books. So what I'm going to do starting in 2022 is have a monthly book podcast where I read one of their books and I review it. So my first one is this book called So This Is Christmas, written by one of the pretty popular Hallmark movie writers Tracy and Dream.
So Christmas, even though Halloween hasn't been arrived yet, Christmas is here.
For Hallmark, yes.
For Hallmark, yes. Patreon.com/The Resident Podcast. But yeah, the podcast releases earlier than it does the scheduled date.
Yeah.
You also see the graphic before we release it to social media, all that stuff. So,
yeah.
Yep. How do you contact us? We have an email address, theresidentRulebreakers@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page, which is the Resident Rulebreakers Podcast.
Yep.
There's a Facebook group, and it's growing massively by the hour.
Yep.
That's what it feels like.
We got like 12,300 members. But seriously, you guys, if you are going to come on a group just to complain and say that you're no longer watching the show, we're going to block you.
But yeah, the group is a good place for communicating and talking about the show and getting news, all that stuff.
Yep.
The Instagram page, which is growing rapidly, by the way. We're really growing. Thank you, everyone, for the new followers and everything. At The Resident Podcast.
Thank you for everyone following us.
And then, of course, Camille is at The Resident on Fox Fans. And I'm at KB Country 37. Then we have our Twitter account, which is at Resident Podcast. When the show airs, whenever it comes back, I will be live tweeting from it the night it airs. Then, of course, listen to us on all the platforms. We have a YouTube channel as well. So we're not just on all these other, like Apple and Google. We're also on YouTube. So.
Yay.
Right now, we have no clue when we'll actually be back. If the show returns on the 2nd, the next podcast will be November 8th. If the show returns on the 9th, the next podcast will release on the 15th. Have a happy and safe Halloween. Stay safe. Have fun. And we will talk to you in November.
See ya.
See you guys.